Strike a pose. Strike a pose.
You wanna G with the big boys? Now you the wrong, get the you the wrong, get enough with you see how the thing goes.
Hey everyone, it's Steph here if you don't already know, and on this channel I just talk about all things careers and all things lifestyle. And in today's video, I'm going to be telling you what you need to be leaving behind in 2021. Now, I know a lot of you follow me either because you're aspiring lawyers, brat, or you want to be good with your productivity, cool, or you just like following my journey. I appreciate you all. And I just thought these are some of the things that I'm personally going to be leaving behind. So I figured, why not share them with the community so that we can all level up and grow together. So before I get into the video, as ever, please do make sure that if you're not already subscribed, please do make sure that you like, comment and subscribe. Please do give me a follow on my Instagram. If you want to see more from me from my website, check the link down below. You will see everything there. Cool, that's all the admin out of the way. Let's get into the video. Okay, so what is the first thing that we are leaving in 2021? For me personally, it is fear of failure. Now, I think a lot of the things that I'm leaving in 2021 actually tie in around this, so it's probably good that this is the first one that I'm speaking about. But what am I getting at when I'm talking about fear of failure? I'm talking about all those times, and I know you know what I'm talking about, all those times where I probably should have put my hand up for something. I probably should have stepped forward and said, do you know what? I can do this, Steph can do this, but I didn't. And I didn't do it because I thought I wouldn't be able to do it well. You told me I won't. Anyway, as a lot of you already know, I've made quite a few videos on this channel about how I've been working through my imposter syndrome in the workplace. I could also do some videos about how I've been working through it outside of the workplace, to be honest. But this whole fear of failure thing, it's not following me into 2022. It cannot, because I don't like knowing that there were times where I could have leveled up with certain things and the only thing that held me back was the fact that I was too scared to do it. Impossible. So I put it to you that we are leaving fear of failure in 2021. If you want to join me, can we get an amen in the comments? Cool. Second thing that we're leaving behind in 2021. Now, this is actually very specifically for my aspiring lawyers, to be honest, but actually it's also for anybody who is just looking to get into a new industry or is maybe like still a student or something like that. Applicable to absolutely everybody, to be honest, but I'm going to speak about it from the perspective of aspiring lawyers. And this is not asking specific questions. If you follow me on my Instagram, and actually if you don't follow me on my Instagram, pause this video and go and follow me and come back. But if you follow me on my Instagram, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, because I've done a live or two about this. It doesn't help either yourself as the person asking the question or the person on the other end who is meant to be answering the question for you if the question lacks specificity. What am I talking about here? Let me give you an example. If as an aspiring lawyer I approach a trainee, an associate, grad recruitment, whoever, and I say something like, oh hey, like I'm really interested in the firm, can you give me some tips on how to make my cover letter stand out? And this is a question I hear absolutely all the time, so I know it's a question that's real. The kind of advice that you are likely going to get, in fact, let me even just speak about it as if it's me. If you come and ask me this question, this is the advice I'm going to give you. Proofread your application. Tailor your application to the firm. Make sure you don't write another firm's name in your cover letter. Make sure that you follow the structure. Why law? Why that firm? Why you? Like, I'm going to give you all the generic things that you can find on everybody's websites, on everybody's pages, because I don't have the time to question you to pinpoint what exactly is it that you actually needed help with. And like, in all honesty, because you can find these answers that I'm going to give you absolutely anywhere, I kind of just feel like, did you just ask me a question for asking sake, or I don't know. So let's say you're going through the application process and you get to like the work experience section of the application or something like that, and you want some guidance on as to how to write that. You might want to pop up to someone and say something like, you know, oh, I'm really interested in the firm. I see that you're a trainee there, so I wanted to ask if you had any tips on what some of the top skills were that your firm, that you think you need as a trainee, and what skills I should be highlighting in my work experience section. Something like that. That's actually really specific, and it tells me that you've done some research, and it will make me more inclined to be like, actually, let me think about some of the skills that I've used as a trainee in my past 9-10 months. Attention to detail is one. So maybe I would advise you to like think about what work experience you have which shows or demonstrates your attention to detail. Teamwork is another one. So maybe I would ask you to think about work experience that allows you to do that kind of thing. And then I would probably even go a step further and say, in fact, you know what, get out your pen and paper, because this is actually good advice now. I would probably even go a step further and say something like, the most helpful thing for you to do actually is maybe go on the firm's website and check what are the top skills that they personally highlight. Because in all honesty, every professional, if we're being honest, needs the same basic skills. We all need to be able to communicate, we all need to be able to work in a team, we all need to be able to problem solve. Like, those are just basic things, right? But every firm is going to have, you know, 2 or 3 additional specific skills that they want for their employees. So I would say go to the firm's website and check what those 2 or 3 additional skills are. If you feel like you can't find it on the website, then like I was doing in the example, you can actually just reach out to someone who works there and ask them what are the skills that they personally feel like they use in their role, and then you can kind of try and demonstrate those. And then when you go back to actually writing your work experience section, you can then, in my personal opinion, use either the CAR structure, so context, action, result, reflection, or the STAR structure, situation, task, action, result, and write about, I would say, 2 or 3 pieces of work experience. And I say 2 or 3 because, especially for those of you who are like either still in university or you're still a student, you will tend to find that a lot of your work experience brings out the same skills, which is not a big deal. But like, the point I'm trying to get at is that, you know, if you have worked in Asda when you lived at home and now you moved to uni and you worked in Tesco, you picked up the same skills in both Asda and Tesco. So yes, you have different work experience that spans over different years, but in terms of the skills, they're pretty much the same skills, right? So I think it makes more sense to write about fewer pieces of work experience, but work experience that kind of highlights the skills that that particular firm is looking for. So that's the kind of in-depth advice that I would actually give you, as opposed to just saying generic things like tailor it to the firm. Do you kind of get what I'm getting at there? Like, just make it easier for you by being more specific. So we definitely need to leave not asking specific questions in 2021. Like, we're not doing that. Leave that behind. What is the third thing that I personally am leaving in 2021? Now, funnily enough, there were a couple of instances. So I think I have spoken about this in some of my videos or on my Instagram, or I don't know, I spoke about it somewhere. But there were a couple of instances where there were people I know who got work experience literally just by tapping into their networks and asking people. And then it made me think about a particular story that happened to me actually a while back in university. And actually, I don't even know if I've said what the third thing is. The third thing that we're leaving is not tapping into our personal networks and not tapping into our social network. That's what we're leaving behind. But the story that I was thinking about that happened to me in uni. So in first year, for those of you who have been to uni, you'll know how first year is. Like, every time you meet someone, it's always, oh, what school did you go to? What A-levels did you do? Like, the generic questions to just get to know people or whatever when you're in your first year. So I remember meeting this girl who is actually now a really good friend of mine, and having this conversation with her. And she also at the time did law with me. So we were also then just kind of talking about like our legal journeys to date and all that kind of stuff. And I remember she told me about a piece of work experience that she had done in sixth form. And that particular work experience that she had done, she got it because she had in conversation told her friend that she wanted to become a lawyer. Turns out friend's dad is a judge. And then the friend told dad. Dad was like, oh, well, why don't you let your friend come and shadow me? So that's how she got that particular piece of work experience. And to people who are not in the law, that might just sound like it's a random thing. But to those of us who are in the law, we know, like, shadowing a judge is a big thing. Judges are like, they're the big guys in the law. So to be able to shadow a judge, that's quite a big deal. And if you kind of break down, how did she actually get that work experience? Like, literally just because she was having a conversation with her friend, because she told her friend something that she wanted to do. And that just got me thinking about, like, how there are a number of times where I probably could have gotten to where I am that little bit faster if I had just tapped into my network. If I had just turned around and asked somebody, oh, this is something I want to do. Like, do you think you can help? Or do you know anybody who could help? Like, that sort of thing. I think we don't do that enough. So I personally am leaving behind the not tapping into my network in 2021. And I will waltz into 2022 shouting about absolutely everything and getting everybody around me to help and support me, because that is how we go further and that is how we move forward in life. So I encourage you to do the same. The fourth thing that we are leaving behind, okay, this one, do you know what? It kind of ties into the fear of failure one, but I just want to keep it separate because, again, I've got a little story time for you. And this one is about not letting rejection control us. I'm going to pause for a second and rewind and say that again. We cannot let rejection, or fear of rejection, maybe should I say, control us. What do I mean by this? I think I might have mentioned this on my channel before, but I don't think I've ever done a full story time on this. So grab your popcorn. This is a little treat for you. From a very young age, I've always known that I wanted to be a lawyer, right? Like, I was just one of those annoying children that always had her life planned out for her. Cool. And from when I was about 9, I discovered like the whole world of Oxbridge. I was like, oh, prestigious university in the country. Oh yeah. I wanna go there. I wanna do this. I wanna do cool. So I had my heart set on, oh yeah, I'm gonna do humanities GCSEs. I'm gonna go do humanities IB because I didn't do A levels, and then I'm gonna go to Oxbridge. And I will never forget this. In the sixth form that I went to, so from like 9 till maybe like 15, 16, like that was my plan. Like, I was always gonna do it that way, and I did very well in my GCSEs. I did quite well with my IB as well. And before I got to doing well in my IB, I guess, like from when I started sixth form, the plan was I'm gonna apply to Oxbridge and I'm gonna get in, and that's how I'm gonna get a training contract and blah blah blah. Cool. So I remember one day now in year 12, in an assembly that we had, they were kind of like, oh yeah, for those of you who want to apply to Oxbridge, like, we've got like I don't know if it was some kind of support class or something like that, so go to this particular room. Remember that like the requirements are that you need to have 40 predicted points. I did have 40 predicted points. I think I even had 41 predicted points actually. But point is, I met the requirements. And I remember walking to this room, not with all that much confidence, which was probably my first issue. But anyway, I remember walking to this room, and I remember there being somebody at the door, and that person at the door said to me, and I don't even think they knew the impact of what they were going to say, but they said to me, you know, you need to have 40 predicted points to be in this room, right? And I took that to mean, Steph, you know you don't have 40 predicted points. You better just turn around and go back to where you came from. Like, that's what I personally heard. But that's not what the person said, but that's what I heard. And from that point, I got into my head that if I apply to Oxbridge, these people are going to reject me, so I'm not doing it. And I didn't apply to Oxbridge. And I'm telling you this story because that fear that I had, that I thought that Oxbridge would reject me, made me completely alter a plan that I had set for myself. And with the benefit of hindsight and all this kind of stuff, I don't actually regret going to Durham. I think that was a really good choice for me. I've obviously ended up with a really good training contract. I'm doing what I want to do, so that's all fine. But I do regret the fact that I allowed that fear of being rejected by Oxbridge to stop me from even trying. Because after that, I didn't even try. I completely closed my mind to the idea that I could go to Oxbridge. So I say all of this to say to you that if, as you were listening to that story, you can think of a time where you have allowed that fear to cripple you to the point where you completely change something that you have planned out for yourself, stop that. Stop that. Because the only thing that will happen if you don't try and do something is that it just won't happen. I didn't apply to Oxbridge, so guess what? I didn't go to Oxbridge. But maybe if I'd actually applied, maybe I would have gotten in. Do you see what I mean? Like, if you actually try, there's a 50% chance that it might actually work out for you. And we need to kind of get over that fear of, oh, but what if it doesn't work out? So then I don't want to try because I don't want to feel like how it feels if it doesn't work out. No. We are not letting this fear of rejection hold us and control our movements in 2022. We're not doing that. Cool. So those are the 4 things that I am personally focusing on leaving behind in 2021. Fear of failure, not asking specific questions, not tapping into my personal and social networks, and letting the fear of rejection control me. I'm really curious to know, what things are you going to be leaving behind in 2021? Please do drop a comment down below and let me know what you're leaving behind. As ever, please do make sure that you like, comment and subscribe, and share this video with at least one person who you think will enjoy it. And I'll be back again in the new year with another video.